Well, I finally did it. I finally lowered down the height of the conveyor on the Easton Made 37D for all of you that were concerned about how high the wood was dropping from the top of the conveyor into the trailer here. There was a lot of concern because I had the conveyor 2 notches higher than it is now, and apparently that was enough to get people concerned that the wooden planks in my trailer were going to be damaged by the wood falling down on top of it. So I made that adjustment. I lowered the conveyor down so now the fall isn't as high, and I left a bunch of bark in there as a little shock absorber. So we are getting ready to run all these rounds. Well, maybe not all of them. We're getting ready to run some of those rounds, split them up and run them into the trailer here. However, that will not be happening today. Well, not right now. I have to wait for Amanda to get home from work because I don't want to be a show-off and go over there and load the log lift and push the levers. I mean, if I wanted to show off to you guys, I'd come out here and throw some dumbbells around and lift little weights for you. So no, I don't want to show off and be loading the logs and pushing the levers both at the same time, doing both jobs at once. The one thing I did have to do today, however, was change the oil in the front axle on the Coyote CK2610. And let me tell you, this is where sometimes I just don't understand why things need to be so difficult and complicated. But before I explain to you the dilemma I was facing changing the oil here on the front axle, let me just show you something that's kind of cool. Just before I get into the bad, let me show you something cool that's kind of good. Well, a couple things. There's one thing that was also bad that I discovered. We'll go with the bad first. So the other day when I brought all these rounds in here, I did not realize and I did not know until the next day when I was out here, I looked up and I discovered right above this pile, right where the tractor was running, banging around, dumping these rounds off, there was a bald-faced hornet's nest. It wasn't too big, it was maybe the size of like a softball. So I went ahead and sprayed that. I took care of it. But yeah, I almost was, I would have almost been kind of in a bad position if I would have started up this machine and all those hornets probably been a little agitated and came out and let me know that they were there. So the hornet's nest is taken care of. So the discovery that was kind of cool is over here I have this, I think it's mulberry. I put this big chunk on the corner of the carport just to kind of act as like an anchor. And if you look, what's happening is there is actually a tree or a couple little sprouts coming out of the bark. So that stump, well, right now is growing another tree. I might end up seeing just how big that tree will grow. The other cool thing is over here on this big chunk of maple acting as another anchor, there is a little maple tree growing out of that bark. And then up here in this corner, I have a big chunk of elm, and there is a little elm tree growing out of this big chunk. On top of this big chunk is a mascot I found for the small wood. Over there in that corner, the last of the 4 corners, I have a big chunk of ash. Nothing is growing out of that. So 3 out of the 4 big chunks of wood that I have in the corners acting as kind of anchors, just kind of holding things down, they are actually sprouting new trees. So that is kind of cool. So back to the dilemmas. Other than, let me tell you, it's been a hot one. And I've been hearing from people all over, it's been hot everywhere. So just, one thing to keep in mind when you're out working in the heat, in the wood yard, Very important to stay hydrated. Take breaks. Don't go at a crazy fast pace. You know, take it easy. Every now and then, rest, relax, recharge. Yeah, don't overdo it in this heat. Because the one thing is, the heat will catch up to you real quick. So take breaks, stay hydrated, and hopefully you won't have to be frustrated in dealing with things like I did with, again, changing the oil on the front axle. So in the owner's manual, I looked because I wanted to find out how much I needed to put back in once I drained out the oil from this front axle. So in the owner's manual, it says 1.58 US gallons. All right. Now you would think when I go to the store to buy the gear oil to replace in the front axle here, I could just go in, find that jug of 1.58 gallons, and I'd be set. And on a side note, it's kind of strange to have, 1.58. Like they couldn't make the capacity 0.42 gallons bigger, or they couldn't make it 0.08 smaller, so it'd be like an even 1.5 gallons. Oh, no. Let's make it 1.58 gallons. Yeah. And then you would think with all the tractors, well, I don't know if all the tractors require that amount in the front axle or not, but all of these compact tractors that are sold, you would think there would be somebody out there saying, oh, do you know what? The maintenance on these calls for 1.58 gallons. Why don't we make a jug of gear oil that is 1.58 gallons? The other interesting thing, the Kubota D902 engine over there on the Easton Made 37D, guess what the oil capacity of that is? Oh yes, you guessed it, 1.58 gallons. There you go, another example. Sure would be nice to go in and buy a jug of 1.58 gallons. But no, that's not possible. So anyway, I did ask my phone to convert 1.58 gallons to, I think I asked liters. And then it said it was, I think around 5.98 liters. Something like that. All right, so I doubt I'm gonna find 5.98, liters. Then I had to do another conversion and find out that in, what was it? Anyway, I figured somehow I got around to finding out that, no, I know what it was. So I went to the store, I go to the shelf, I find the gear oil, and there is the bottle that says 1 quart. The bottle is 1 quart. 1 quart and hang on here. Let me just make sure. Let me just show you. So yes, this bottle is 1 quart or 946 milliliters. All right, so am I going to go with the liters route or the quarts route? Well, I find out that in 1.58 gallons, there is roughly 6 quarts. So yeah, I had to buy 6 of those bottles. Why not just make it where you can buy 1 bottle? I don't know. Seems kind of crazy. But anyway, and I know this isn't a big deal, and I'm sure some of you out there are probably saying, it's an easy conversion. Everyone knows 1.58 gallons is 6 quarts. La, la, la. Well, I did not until I went to change the gear oil in the front axle. So one other thing that's interesting is when you are changing the gear oil in the front axle, wouldn't you know that, of course, the drain plugs, my drain pan did not fit underneath and was low enough to catch the oil coming out. Surprise, surprise. So that was the task I needed to get done today. I wasn't planning on splitting any wood anyway. I am going to wait for Amanda when she is around to help out with that. The other thing why I wasn't planning on splitting any wood today is because I promised someone right here. I promised him that we would do a little swimming. So, I'm gonna jump in the water, cool off, and we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Hopefully we will be out here. It is supposed to rain, however. Yes, indeed, rain. We haven't had any for 2 days, 3 days. So if it doesn't rain, we'll be out here on the tiki bar. However, if it is raining, if there's thunderstorms happening, we'll have to be inside. But either way, hopefully you guys will tune in to Friday Night Live, the live stream. Again, 8 p.m. Central tomorrow night. It's gonna be a good time. It always is. We'll be kicking off, or we'll be having, is this the last weekend of June already? It is. Oh my, jeepers. June flew by. Anyway, come on over, stop by, Friday night, live stream, 8 p.m. Central right here. We'll kick the weekend off. We'll say goodbye to June and get ready for July. And we'll have a good time hanging out with you woodhounds. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Stay safe, have fun, and be cool.